Eve, talk done. We're toast. Let's move into roadmap roundup stuff. Or excuse me, we're going to do roadmap roundup and the monthly report together. We're starting with roadmap roundup because I assume that this is the lesser of the two, and that is roadmap roundup will be the lesser one. So Wicklow ship offerings. This is just the card received a new visual. I do believe I have the visuals. I think I saw this in mod chat when I first woke up. I did. This is what the visuals look like, really? Okay. They're definitely different. I just feel like this one was skinned like this already, so a forest camo and like a pearlescent meteor. I mean, Wicklow is turning into like a shipskin guy, basically. And that's about it. Let's go back to roadmap roundup. Max Ox neutron cannons have a new visual as well. This is what they look like. Okay, nothing special. Thank you to Frosty for the images, by the way. Appreciate it. Exterior freight elevators. They are now added to Stanton. Remember, my last concern was that they are not in Stanton. They are now in Stanton, confirmed. I think Baijini has by far the most. Let me actually look in Discord. I might have to scroll a long time to find this. But there are different amounts of stations in each. Yeah, D-Rack, check this. Evers appears to have 12. Baijini has 16 exterior freight elevators. Port Tressler has 8. And Seraphim, I'm not aware of how many. So there are different ones per location. And it kind of makes sense that the stations are... Where are they? Let's see. Baijini, they're all on the cargo deck area, it looks like. Yeah. They're all in the cargo. So like around the edges of the cargo boxes on the stations. So that'll be kind of cool. Can't wait for freight elevator queues. You won't have them, as far as I understand. It is as free and open as anything else at an outpost. So it's first come, first serve. So it won't be freight elevator queues. It's going to be people bumping you, trolling you, killing you, stealing shit from you. That's what's going to happen. And a queue would be a good thing. Let me tell you, a queue would be a great thing. It's going to be stupid. The people that want to like troll cargo haulers, and let me tell you something, we need loss for cargo haulers. Like the Hull Sea pilots. Why do Hull Sea pilots like flying the Hull Sea? They auto load and auto unload, right? It feels like cargo hauling. It's super chill. I totally understand. I am not knocking that gameplay at all. That is actually one of the only good gameplay loops I think that are in Star Citizen currently, is the auto load, auto unload of the Hull Sea. It's about the journey. It's about putting on some music, making some money, having a good time. But there's no risk in between, really. So that's something that I'd love to see come in, because it's endless making money and no losing money ever when you're doing cargo hauling missions. By the way, that is the end of Roadmap Roundup. That's all there is. So the big news is they actually did add them to Stanton. The last time we heard about this, they were only in Nyx and Pyro. And there was big concerns that they wouldn't also be in Stanton. So glad to see that they're added, and they are officially added. We've seen them in Evo Cadi. Now, PU monthly report. And I have seen exactly none of this because, as you might have heard at the beginning, I'm losing everything in EVE Online. Remember how I said that you want to have... I always talk about economy and loss and all that stuff. I am losing everything I've ever owned in the game. Gone. Because we lost the war. And you know what? It feels okay. And it feels good. Because they have a successful economy. Which, here we go. maybe we'll have an economy talk in the monthly report. They have a successful economy where it's okay. You just go back out, you start grinding again, and you'll be just fine. And yeah, so it is what it is. You don't get attached to things like you do in Star Citizen, because you're not financially attached to it like you are in Star Citizen. All right, let's go. AI content. In October, the narrative and social AI teams supported several initiatives for upcoming 4.4. Landing zone fixes, technical issues prevented the complete implementation of these updates. They'll be added in a future patch. As unveiled at CitizenCon Direct, the team supported social AI set up for Levski. Discussions with combat AI for more voice packs. And then there'll be more in the upcoming year based on the latest version of behavior. Their goal with this new approach is to consolidate FPS and dogfighting triggers while specializing recordings to focus specific groups. Okay. Again, those are just like little things that will have while fighting, like little noises, sounds, and little comms calls. AI features continue to iterate on the first reaction and usable animations. They also fix crashes related to human combat, accuracy calculations. Again, I'm not saying like too much here. This also will include a fix to fire rate of burst and single shot weapons. I think the way the AI fire right now is very weird. They don't fire how we fire, right? They just kind of shoot a little bit. Numerous bugs were fixed for the Urmandi. Introduced a late in the day action, refining and implementation of arena reset functionality. Okay, so that's just Urmandi stuff. This is old. We've already done. Urmandi's old news, man. AI tech, improvements to navigation message generation. I don't think we're seeing this. Specifically, the transversal behavior when NPCs go through manual doors, elevators, and interruptibles. I don't think we're seeing the results of that just yet. Then working on first version of Flight Pathfinder through Voxel Grid. Does this mean that we'll finally see ships flying around? We'll see. The first pass of the system managed AI agent scripting, flow graphs completed. I don't think anything of there is worth reading. Game intelligence. Next milestone for Mission System V2, focusing on implementing outline properties. You had no idea what any of this means for us. It sounds like a very internal thing. They also continue on implementing outline declaration, which is based on declarative system. Yeah, again, all speak that doesn't really mean anything to us. Dev's currently analyzing Mannequin to propose UI visuals and to improve reading and over. Yeah, I don't see anything of super note there. Usually once we get to like animation, that's when things start building up. Animation worked on Urmandi. So, okay. Facial animation team for new content for 4.4. New animations for the returning ATC character mentioned in September's report. I got so much crap from you guys who said Nyx wasn't coming when I read last week's monthly report. And I don't talk to anybody from CIG about anything anymore. And that is, I literally knew because of the ATC character, who is an absolute goof. And I haven't heard him in Nyx yet. But yeah. At the start of the month, the team attended. It's missing half the system. I mean, it's there. You're jumping to it, but I agree that like I feel like they're doing this to say that they've done it, not because it's time to deliver it. You know what I mean? At the start of the month, the team attended another shoot with the narrative and motion capture teams, capture content for a new mission giver, as well as multiple voice packs for NPCs throughout the Nyx system. So, okay. Is the new mission giver Recco Battaglia, or is it a new mission giver? Recco's there. She speaks, but I don't know. Character art. Various armors for the new gang, which we have already seen, so I'm kind of confused. And progress with new heavy armor and clothing items. Concept art team finished. Finalized handoff sheets for exploring directions for a new gang. Must be another new gang. Like, do we really need more gangs? I have no idea. Oh, Aurora update. It looks just like an Aurora. Do you guys see any difference in the image? In the UK ship span, stored in the release of the Anvil Paladin, Stinger, and Grey Market Shiv, CitizenCon Direct. Work on the Aegis Hammerhead and RSI Aurora continue to bring them up to modern standards for the Hammerhead. Designer currently setting up the revisions, including the addition of the blast doors throughout the corridors and updating component placement. The Aurora is currently awaiting downstream support, particularly for audio and VFX, as these feature some of the oldest game assets. It just looks cleaner. I mean, I see an MF. My biggest concern was MFDs. I see one here, but I don't see one here. And I believe there used to be one here and here. But you can't really see the interior that much. I mean, it looks lit up. But like, I don't see a gun rack. The bed looks about the same. Oh, the Aurora's inside an ironclad. It is. So that's kind of the sneak here, not the actual ship itself. I think gun placement is different on the Aurora. Yeah. The Aurora inside looks larger. Does it? I don't know. Maybe my eyes are deceiving me. I don't remember there being a... Is there a window here in the old one? Can I do a side-by-side? I don't think it would do it justice because I'll never be able to zoom in. Bottom left, there's a door panel. Okay. Yep, that was needed. That's new. Very cool. We got some keen eyes in the chat. I want to know where they fitted the components. I don't think they did. I think you might be aware that the way single-seaters are going is it's all going to be done via a panel. But yeah, the ironclad interior, that's kind of exciting. It's so big, dude. But yeah, the gun placement is totally different. If I remember correctly, the guns were like here before, and now they're more central. And then, is that like a turret on top now? What is that? That's new. You think outside? There's nowhere to do it outside, so yeah, I don't know. Oh, maybe those are missiles.
God, look at that, Idris.
Yeah, maybe those are missiles. I muted the sounds after the Idris. Okay. The hull B is currently being prepared for white box review, with the final touches being made to ensure that it hits the required functionality criteria. Again, probably my most anticipated ship of the year is, or of the years, is a hull B. I think it's like the perfect cargo hauler size if it sticks to its 300 SCU. Both Drake and Ironclad models and the command module progress well into gray box with geometry and lighting updates. Okay. More interior of the Ironclad. Looks very Drake. I think it's the Ironclad's about functionality, not form. So kind of waiting for it to get into my hands. I'm obviously very excited for the ship, but don't care about interior look images. I care about using it, right? When is hull E coming? If the hull C is an example, the hull D and E should not come until we have an economy in the game, because the hull C has broken it. Because we don't have one, I think. It hasn't broken it, but it's part of the cracks that are inside of it, just printing money, essentially. For unannounced ships, progress through October. The first is on track for its final review in early November. No way. Is that because IAE is coming? While the second is are complete and currently with downstream teams. Oh, no way. The third upcoming variant passed its Lot 0 review. Following this, the downstream teams began their tasks ahead of final review. Art also completed an all-new ship, the first startup of an all-new ship, before it continued down the pipeline, with the paints being created alongside a full pass from Q&A. Another new vehicle, the Greycat UTV, which was briefly shown during the introduction of the STV, entered its white box phase. What was the UTV? I don't even remember. I was like, this is so dumb. Utility one with gun mounts. Yeah, but it just had mounts on the side, right? Like, you didn't actually shoot with it. It's like a PTV, but outdoors. Who cares? Okay. That's your, what is it called? Your LTI token. essentially, for IAE. That's my assumption. It's not actually useful from that direction. Maybe it'll have something to do with base building, but I doubt it. Or I guess once we have bases, driving around might be a thing. I'm still going to fly around, so that's me. Finally, for the UK team, pre-production kicked off for the Anvil Liberator. That's a surprise as well. I think a lot of people are excited for that. Not that you have any reason to move ships around, really, but I think that will be a great org ship because it's open and everything. So I think that will be kind of useful and stuff like that, maybe. Liberator's one I really want to be excited about from an org perspective. Landing ships and taking off and landing ships and taking off. But yeah, its cargo grid is the one that I don't know. I think it has 400 SU of secure cargo, which is quite a bit. I'm trying to remember, but yeah. I'm going to be pushed aside by the Kraken, maybe. This phase is before official production begins and aims to get a solid base for the wider team to use for further estimation and concept requests to aid smoother delivery. In the end, another backlog ship is getting worked on, and that's fantastic, right? Nothing bad to say about that. This is one of those ships that I did not buy, but absolutely want to earn and feel like will get used almost daily in the game at some point, if done well. North American team progressed with 2 unannounced vehicles. One is currently with downstream teams for closeout ahead of its final review, while second is approaching gray box review in early November. Elsewhere, the RSI Perseus had a large-scale developer and QA playtest this month to check its robustness and intent in combat, which was a great success. Whitebox continued on the Kraken, with more developers moving onto it as other projects were completed. Very nice. All right. Then, of course, skip through community. Look at core gameplay. Look at core gameplay, dude. That is this year in a fucking nutshell. Holy shit. Core gameplay teams have pushed forward on the inventory revamp. They're still talking about inventory. In the end, it's like, yeah, we need it. But I don't know. I don't know. I got to chill out. It's like no matter what they say, I get mad at them now. You know what I mean? And it's because I don't care about what they say. I only care about what they do. So I'm kind of just waiting to see what they do. And that's how I feel about the inventory. Is like less talk, more action. Like the fact that we didn't really see the inventory in action and we saw it in a really rough state at CitizenCon was like an update that was like more concerning than it was exciting. So just looking forward to seeing what happens with it. I just need more of like, let's get those things in our hands. But them updating on us and saying that they're still working on it is totally fine. So that's why I'm saying I need to chill. Them saying they're still working on it means they're still working on it. And if they don't say anything, then people may think that they stopped working on it. You know what I mean? So this involved working on the equipment area where players add weapons, mods, and equipment, including tractor beams and medical guns. We're bringing back the ability to have 2 weapons stored on your back while you hold a third one in your hands. Why? Why not? What's the benefits? What's the negatives? I would have liked to hear more of that here, to be honest. It has been incredibly annoying. Why? Is because it makes no sense to drop a gun when you have nothing in your hands on your back, right? But for people who might be reading this and not knowing, it's not even a loot goblin thing. It's just a functionality thing. Like, let's say you have a gun on your back that you want to keep, but you want to pick up that gun immediately that's on the ground and shoot it because you need to, because your other guns ran out of ammo, right? So I hope that there's like I don't know, man. They let us carry so many guns, so it's weird. Maybe they'll nerf backpack gun storing capacity. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the best plan of action there is. I really would love to see backpack guns go up for this reason is like I hope that we have to like loot lots of weapons and build lots of weapons and things like that, and a backpack's a great way to move them, but then at the same time it breaks kind of when you have a bunch of guns and you carry a bunch of ammo and you can just swap between guns easily. It's the amount of guns you can have in one backpack doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So yeah, they might nerf it, but we'll see. The team also worked on different inventory tabs and floating item slots and kicked off the early stages of capital ship repair, rearm, and refueling. So in case people don't know what this is, it is not the refueling of repair, rearm, or refuel of capital ships. It is when you land a ship inside capital ships, how you repair, refuel, and rearm your smaller ship that is inside. So that's what they mean by that. Just in case you aren't aware, it's been talked about a few times over the last couple months. That is a huge step for orgs and groups and things like that. Super awesome. Very excited for this thing to come in. Yeah, the way it was written was like, you will repair capital ships in a different way. That's not the vibe that I understand because they've explained it quite a bit. And yeah, it's you landing small ships in there, refueling them, rearming them, repairing them. Actual logistics within a group. Very cool. I think that will make fights really neat and all that stuff. Did I swoon over the Liberator already? No, just because it's so far away. It's something that I want to see how it plays out in the game with this. The Liberator makes sense from this perspective, but the Liberator also can't hold as the game has been built out, the Liberator, I'm not sure, can hold what is maybe necessary for what my group does on a regular basis. Like if I remember correctly, it was only like 4 prospectors, right? So I'm not sure how valuable it would be to me yet, but ship repair, rearm, and refueling on something like a Liberator does sound very, very cool. This also, unfortunately, is going to kill the Starfarer currently, and I do hope the Starfarer goes down a route that is more about the production of fuel and the resource gathering of things for fuel, and I hope it goes down that way. But we'll have to see. Oh, Shende, yeah, you literally asked about the Starfarer as I was thinking about it. I think it's going to kill it in the short term, but that gives them the ability to kind of rethink what they want to do with a ship like the Starfarer. I hope they understand that in the ecosystem of cargo-related ships, the Starfarer is one of the ships that makes the most sense. If you equate it to real life cargo. I originally went down a rabbit hole to make a video about cargo ships, and then gave up because I know CIG wouldn't do anything if I made a video. It didn't matter. It was after they announced that they're not making any features. They're not going to do shit. So it just didn't matter. And I was like, I'm not even going to waste my breath about this. But I went down a rabbit hole of like, how does shipping work in the real world? And I learned about bulk carriers and fuel carriers and liquid natural gas carriers and how they're all totally different, and how, some is loose. Cargo is completely loose and just poured into these huge containers, and how fuel ships work and all that stuff. So I've gone down this rabbit hole for the last year. I watch videos on it nearly every day. I'm obsessed with it. I find it to be so cool, and how insane the world economy is when it comes to shipping in the world and everything. And the Starfarer is like a bulk fuel carrier. It is kind of perfect from that perspective, and doesn't need a lot changed from it outside of like its internal layout and things like that. But I would love to see what what they do with the scooping of it and the creation of it. I mean, it's essentially a fuel refinery that is also a bulk fuel carrier. So I don't know. I don't think that there should be a situation where you move fuel in square boxes, right? I don't think that should be a thing. I think you should move fuel in a Starfarer-like ship, and then maybe a smaller ship that only moves one container the size of a Starfarer. And the Starfarer is the economy of scale ship when it comes to that, right? And I think that would be cool. The idea of it refueling other ships is not as necessary. But having a dedicated ship to move gas and liquid when your cargo haulers move dry goods, essentially. That's basically what I've learned is that there's special ships that are used to move gas. There's special ships that are moved to use liquid, that move liquid, and there's special ships that are used to move dry goods. And then there's special ships that are just for containers. That are obviously a mix of all of the above, but the economy of scale is like the Starfarer ship, and I think that would be fantastic. So yeah, this is huge for the game. This is so important. And I think it will make the Starfarer feel like something that you don't want. But I do hope that one day, in order to run your space station, in order to run your base, in order to refuel, rearm, and repair on these big capital ships, you're going to have to move the cargo with a ship like the Starfarer, if it's liquid, right? All right, economy. It's not small, but I got a bad feeling about this. The speed, because it's the economy team, and I always have a bad feeling about the economy team right now until they prove me otherwise. The team spent the last month building the economy of Nyx, giving the system character. As part of this, mining, refining, and shops receive passes to ensure the right story is told through balance and numbers. I haven't checked in the most recent PTUs, but the first one, they don't even have any bonuses. There weren't even any bonuses. For freelance cargo trading, besides the usual changes and new trade routes, the team worked on journal entry to steer players in the right direction to give insight on how they think about trading. This hurts my fucking brain. I think if they added an extra sentence here, I would be okay with it. If it said, until we make a proper trading app. What should the economy team have been focused on the entire year? And maybe they were. They talked about doing a bunch of behind-the-scenes shit, which we haven't seen the results of. But I don't think there's a single player in this game, a single backer, that would disagree with me. We need a marketplace that players use. Period. And the fact that we're still going down a route that is something other than that, therefore wasting time and our money on making a temporary thing instead of making the actual thing. Now, they may have a good reason for that. But as somebody on the outside, it looks like these guys don't do anything other than the mission for the new event will give you this much money. Oh, the value of this thing will be this much in this system because we want you to trade over. Like, we need a marketplace. Yeah, here we go again. Several missions were adjusted based on the salvage career developments. For example, missions should not now spawn ships that give fairer rewards for the buy-in time and effort invested. Again, we should be salvaging player ships and it should. I don't know. I hate the salvage missions so much because they're just so basic, so simple, and so anti what's actually going on in the world. Right? It's just they just like pop a salvage thing into the game, and I feel like it could be so much better. And what's funny is we're almost there, right? Like you can go to places and salvage player ships, but out of touch, I don't think is the right word. It's just basic's the wrong one. It feels like outdated is where the salvage career is currently sitting, because you don't whip out your salvage ship typically and go to a certain place because you know that there will be wrecks there. It's not. It's theme parky. That's the problem with it. It's very theme parky. You accept a mission, you know basically where you're going. You're going like Crew L1, Crew L4, Arc L5. You're going to like those places. That's where you get the salvage. And yeah, I'd love to find player wrecks or even some NPC wrecks, but I'd love it to feel more like a treasure that you found, right? That's my personal preference. And the mission kind of breaks the discovery of those things. I think what's special about salvage is like you came across a wreck. You don't come across a wreck. You're just given a quantum marker and you go to it right now, and there's not much on it. And yeah, they do understand their game, I think, and I think they understand that they don't have much of one. So their game is this: they draw a picture of a spaceship, and they will give you the bare minimum to make you feel like that spaceship purchase is cool. These missions allow players to salvage as much as they want with their salvage ships. That is the purpose of these missions. That is the purpose of the ships, is to get you to buy them. That's what it is right now. So you can fund Squadron 42 and then hopefully Star Citizen. Star Citizen's further development. So we're all just, treading water in Star Citizen, including the developers, until they do something on Squadron or actually prioritize Star Citizen. It's very clear that they're not prioritizing Star Citizen, and that's why these things don't move forward. And it is what it is. Now, that's cool. But it's not very fun, right? Kind of sucks. Okay, so that's salvage. Following positive feedback on the faction competition missions, the team provided support for new missions and events currently in production. At the same time, they continue to look into ways to incentivize cooperative gameplay. Who had anything positive to say about the most recent stuff? What? What positive feedback was said about this? This is not exclusive to my community. Maybe they meant the cargo event? Sorry, I enjoyed it. I suck. You enjoying it is not the problem, right? I think it's very clear that nobody's engaged in the actual current event. I'm assuming they're talking about the. What do they mean? What is faction competition missions? I have no idea. Whatever. Following the preview channel testing of Vulkan, the graphics team fixed many performance issues, the vast majority of which were caused by running out of video memory. With Vulkan, all memory is managed manually by the game rather than the driver. In Engine, there were several features that didn't have memory cap or correctly report their expected memory usage. This meant that in the graphics... Okay, so they're telling like why you ran into bugs. Cool. Alongside Vulkan, the team... and other major PU initiative is Planetech aspects of Genesis. While still ongoing, the devs are starting to achieve their desired visual quality in a variety of areas, as demonstrated at CitizenCon Direct. In parallel, there are several in-progress systems that will bring performance and memory usage to the desired level. All right. Cool. I think they mean resource drive, in which positive feedback centered on decent rewards, not the gameplay. Yeah. But I think people didn't mind doing the cargo stuff. Like, a lot of people like that. I don't know. Nobody had pointed out the lack of economy openly negative, I guess. No, we have plenty. They just are, they tune out people like us now because they just don't want to hear it. And I don't know if it's because they know that they're going to fix something long term, or if it's because they just don't like hearing negativity or whatever. But I would much rather the game's economy move forward rather than focus on several mission things related to the economy. Like, where is the sandbox of this game is insane to me. When are we going to focus on the sandbox access aspects of the game? Yeah, of course there was no, yeah, exactly what Morocco said. Negative feedback is not allowed on Spectrum, so all they get is positive. Yep. That's pretty much, if you're upset, they delete your thread most of the time, right? It's very difficult to, you're allowed to say, you could be toxically positive about the game and be an asshole, but if you are any hint of anger in your negativity, they delete it, is what I've noticed, and it's not cool. But yeah. Radical idea, no missions, only a dynamic economy and sandbox. Boom, a game. I think you need a combination of the two. I think they're just overly focused on mission stuff. Look at mission design versus gameplay. Right? I think we're doing too much on the mission side and not enough on the sandbox. That would be my critique of the last year for sure. I was hoping we would do more sandbox stuff, but yeah. All right, mission design worked on the recent limited time event, the Frontier Fighter finale. This included missions in Pyro Stanton, along with the changes to tracking tech introduced in the Resource Drive event, which allowed players to contribute phases of contracts and rewards. Cool. But Frontier Fighters is just not fun. Team also completed a major loot refresh, with the devs updating the UGF and distribution centers to give greater future control and bring up to par with the current design. This is something missions and level design will continue to update each time they use older locations. Running around and looting boxes instead of putting the loot on the NPCs. I don't know. I feel like we're so far behind. Just like standard stuff, right? Devs also added several more locations, including the space-based ship graveyard, which was updated to support ship ambush archetype. Additional ship graveyards and UGFs were added to generate more missions, supporting an increased player cap and new players. Space-based ship graveyard. What am I missing? Is this a thing that in Nyx? Or is this a thing we don't know about yet? I don't know. That's a new thing. The mission team also completed their work on the accept from world feature, which allowed players to accept from physical items in the verse instead of having to just use a contract broker. Wicklow Emporium is the test case for this. This will enable missions outside of mission providers to improve immersion. Okay. For example, it would enable a physical jobs board offering missions around specific location. Ship Graveyard might refer to the Caterpillar, Rex, and Nyx. Maybe. Yeah, maybe that's it. I have seen those. Again, I'm completely blown away that this is something that they're working on instead of, hey, I'm at Baishini Point. Somebody contact me and tell me that they have a mission. Nope. Go up to a physical item for immersion in the year 3000. What are we doing? The team also set up the new courier tech at existing locations to make them more robust when they go online. The missions in Pyro were the first step of testing the system. Work also progressed on features shown in Citizen God Direct. System hauling progressed. It works very well, with the devs adding new missions that will require players to take items between star systems. These missions will expand the hauling career until Reputation V2 is implemented. I'm glad they mentioned Reputation V2 because that was something that was supposed to come in Star Citizen 3 dot something, I thought, or 4.0. So I'm glad that's not a thing that they've ignored. So that's kind of neat. Some existing missions will move over to the Nyx system with new narrative elements, while some older content will return, including Missing Person, Black Box Recovery, and Retrieve Cargo. The upcoming Welcome to Nyx mission progressed as well, too. Finally, a design review was done for Siege of Orison, with the team looking at player feedback and seeing how to improve the event to support instancing. So instancing is probably coming quite quickly. There was Reputation V1. I mean, there is right now, yeah, where you get quote-unquote more difficult missions as you build rep with the group. So there's definitely V1. They're overcomplicating gameplay. Look at the state of key bindings for start. Jesus. To some extent, yes. They're overcomplicating. To some extent, no. Some things feel too simple. Some things feel too designed, maybe, or they have their fingers all over it instead of just letting us do it. But I don't know. The game feels so blah still. Last month, the narrative team focused on the final preparations for the release of Nyx. Since Levski was first added to the stand system years ago, we've been eagerly awaiting the egalitarian society settling into its proper place amongst the stars. We have been coordinating with design not only on the featured mission shown off at CitizenCon, but dozens of other contracts that will become available to players once they enter the system. The narrative team. Again, it's just text in missions is your lore and things like that. I don't know. Narrative also worked alongside with branding and environment to create unique environmental storytelling and signages throughout the new locations. The team spent several future initiatives that will be coming in later patches alongside planning for next year's new content. Yeah, I think next year is going to be just like this year. That's what it feels like. They went to Lyon, Spain, and had a great time. I'm so happy for them. Online tech, progress for item recovery T1, and the early stages of instancing. They also finalized stow context and fixed bugs with error reporting pipeline, audit logs. First iteration of new server meshing technology, which will be moving into initial testing in early November. While players will not experience any significant changes, this is an important first step in laying the groundwork towards dynamic server meshing. R&D, this is big, but it's a lot of tech stuff. Draw calls, CPU. Nothing crazy for me here to read, I don't think. 4 megabyte of video memory was saved for the planet terrain height map to render target. So just they're doing optimizations, things like that. VFX supported upcoming vehicles and the Yormandi. And that's it. Okay. I'm sad. I don't know. I'm just coming through this with like all of the things that I hope we see are not happening, and it's just missions and narrative, and economy is talking about missions and not sandbox as much. I mean, freelance cargo trading is somewhat sandboxy. But yeah, I don't have anything like Omega exciting to point out outside of ships. Liberator, the update to one of my favorite ships, the Aurora, looks pretty cool, and it's all, you know, characters all about new gangs, so they could tell more stories that don't matter. So yeah, missions that don't mean anything. I mean, some missions mean something with Wicklow and stuff, but I think the lack of focus on like that foundation of what players do day in and day out doesn't exist, and they keep building on top of that foundation. And yeah, eventually it'll crumble. It's not like Star Citizen's going to fail, but it crumbles for each player individually at different times. I would say it's pretty fucking broken for me at this point, where I just don't I don't feel connected to the world they've built. I feel entirely connected to it from a immersive standpoint. Like I feel like I'm there when I'm playing the game, but I don't feel connected emotionally to any of the places in the game currently because of the way they're telling these stories or whatever, right? Um, I don't feel connected in that way. And I don't think this year's missions or anything has done a decent job of doing that for me. I think others it's the total opposite, and that's totally fine. I can only speak for my own feelings. But I think that's if your entire goal is to do that for an entire year and what sounds like a whole nother year, I mean, you need to be really good at it, and I don't think that they're doing really good at it, and that's where I'm at. So that was a very long react, but highlights basically the Aurora, the Aurora and the Liberator. There are your highlights, and we'll leave it at that.